time for Tassie Time.
The work of a modern master. 200 for Ricky Ponting.
Mystic Journey over the top takes the lead. She is one for Ibn. Mystic Journey's won the All-Star by an elected quarter.
But he says, ta-da on Bowtide. Some Bowtide brilliance here today. He'll go back-to-back, all right. He's making a mess of them. Bowtide, absolutely brilliant.
Richo for 10. You are the man. Matthew Richardson. He's a superhero tonight for the Tigers.
With Gareth Hall and Steve Old.
Tassie time now, and there's plenty to discuss. We'll talk some cricket, some football, a little bit of basketball as well. The season or the dates have been announced for the start of the NBL season, so looking forward to catching up with Oldie to talk about that. And of course, Pete Staples will be talking all things Tassie racing with us at the end of Tassie time. But Steve Old is ready to go. Good afternoon to you, Oldie.
Gareth, hello, mate.
There is plenty happening. I need to get your opinion too on the tactics there of your Tassie State cricket side, which were disappointing to say the least. But I'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment. But our first guest here on Tassie Time is Nicole Bresnahan, who is, of course, the star behind the Tassie W footballers, and there is plenty to discuss there because we've got some bright young AFLW stars in the state of Tasmania, and Nicole joins us now. Hello to you, Nicole. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How is Tassie footy going in the women's competition, or women's football in Tassie going at the moment?
Yeah, really good. I'm actually coming to you from Melbourne at the moment. Obviously, moved over here a couple of weeks ago to start a pre-season. So, yeah, really excited, really enjoying it so far. And, yeah, I'm welcomed by two new additions on the list as well from Tassie, and Perry King and Ella Mora. So I think that's really exciting for Tassie footy.
So how are they looking so far, Nicole? Have they started training yet? And how they must be looking forward to their step up into the big AFLW league?
Yeah, they're really excited. Both coming off really good NAB League seasons with the Tassie Devils, which is obviously a great coming into AFL training environment as well. But I think they're more just really excited this year. I think, you know, the club's really welcoming, and we've all enjoyed having them up here as well. But obviously there's the added challenge of borders and COVID situation, not being able to, you know, get to head home and see family during the pre-season. But I think, you know, a big pillar for North culture is obviously welcoming in an inclusive environment. So hopefully they're, you know, still feeling right at home.
Of course, Nicole, you do play for the mighty Kangaroos. Can you win it this year? We've got Daniel Harford, a part of our RSN 927 family, host our breakfast show, and he's declaring the Carlton side after their start to the pre-season. I guess everybody thinks they can win the flag at the start of pre-season, Nicole.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says I actually live with another Carlton girl. So
what do they say about Daniel as their coach?
Yeah, no, I think they really like him. I mean, he's been there for a while now,
Yep.
so obviously he must be doing all the right things. But, yeah, I think, you know, everyone obviously feels like, you know, they can win that premiership. Otherwise you wouldn't be there doing what you love doing. But, no, I think it's going to be a really interesting year. There's been a lot of changes in terms of lists and things like that. So, yeah, really excited.
So, Nicole, what impacts are going to have? Like, obviously, there's 4 new teams this year: Essendon, Hawthorn, Port Adelaide, Sydney. What impacts is that going to have on the competition? I guess as much from a playing depth point of view. Yeah, what sort of changes do you think you're to bring to the quality of AFLW having 4 new sides in?
Yes, that's a really interesting one. I suppose 4 new sides will come in that 2022-23 season, so which will bring the comp to 18, which is obviously another really exciting aspect. Another 120 girls get that AFLW opportunity, but. Yeah, obviously there's been a lot of commentary around, you know, the expansion and what that will do to the comp. I think it'll be a really interesting transition period, you know, over that first early couple of years. But I think long term it will be absolutely great for the comp. And I know these, you know, expansion comps will be working really hard now to develop that talent and really just broaden the talent pathway. I mean, hopefully that, you know, there'll be a few more Tassie girls that eventually get on the list. So I think that's one really exciting aspect. And, I mean, I think having another team up Adelaide in Adelaide will be great over there at South Australia because they've been pretty dominant for a couple of years now.
Nicole, do you think that Tassie football has got it right with your platform regarding the state competition? Do you think that you've got enough, that the system is right to produce AFLW players now from your state?
Yeah, so obviously that's a topic that's received, a lot of insight last year in terms of that female talent pathway and the footy landscape in general in Tassie. I think, we saw it this year with kind of the TSLW discontinuing and that kind of going back into more of that SFLW competition. But I think we've got aspects of it right in terms of that rep footy that we had partway through the year. I think more girls are getting VFLW opportunities now and having that exposure. So I think those aspects of it have been really great. Obviously, we're not going to have that perfect model, but I think this season of SFLW still, I think, went really well.
So for those not aware, when's the season actually kick off? And give us a bit of an idea, Nicole, of what a typical week looks like during pre-season for you. I know the listeners will be interested to know what it looks like from an AFLW perspective, like what sort of time you've got to put in, etc.
Yeah, so it's been, obviously we're contracted for a certain amount of time, so I think it's about 15 weeks, but we've actually been in a bit of like a pre-season period now, so it's been a bit of a slow burn, but the season was pushed back a month, so we're meant to kick off the start of December, but now it's moved back to the start of Jan. But I mean, that just gives clubs a little bit of extra time to, I suppose, prepare, get girls that are maybe coming from different states, relocating to the area that they're playing with, things like that. But a typical week, obviously we've got the extra COVID protocols and pretty stringent requirements in terms of testing and the weekly surveys and things like that in terms of circumstances. But otherwise, heading to the club probably three to four times a week. The actual training aspect is, around that 15 hours. But, obviously outside of work, a lot of the girls work full-time or part-time, doing extras outside of them as well. So, but once the season kicks off, it gets pretty hectic as hopefully we'll be flying by that stage, but it becomes quite full on.
Well, Nicole, we wish you the best of luck for the upcoming season. Enjoy pre-season. Do you enjoy pre-season?
Sometimes the running aspect, not so much. Just the yo-yo testing, but it is good. I like getting back into it.
All right, go and get them. With the Kangaroos this year. Thank you. There's Nicole Brisnahan there, who is one of the stars of the AFLW competition, joining us there for Tassie Time. Gareth Hall, Steve Old with you for Tassie Time. Lock in that date there, Oldie, December 3, where the Jack Jumpers will host their first ever NBL game when they take on the 36ers. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be fantastic. It's the first game of the kick-off of the NBL season, so it's a great honour that the Jack Jumpers have been able to start the NBL season. And, can't wait for December 3. It's going to be a massive Friday night in Tasmania, and it's really, it's just building up. We've got all our players in Tassie now. They're up actually the northwest coast doing a bit of a camp at the moment, and the buzz is just electric down here now that the roster's been announced, and we can start planning. There's a game Boxing Day, there's a game New Year's Day. It is going to be sensational. So it's going to be a huge summer of basketball in Tasmania, and I can't wait. And how have the players settled into Tassie life? Really well, mate. They've settled really well. They're really happy. Talking to the imports and some of the players last week, they've sort of, a lot of them making comments that the way they've settled in, the way the club's handled their flights and settling into accommodation stuff has been the best they've ever had. So the club itself, the staff are doing a fantastic job in relation to setting up from the foundation point of view, but looking after the players, making sure their families settle in. We've got a few players that have got young children as well, and the feedback's just been great. So the team, the Jack Jumpers team, have just done a phenomenal job. I met the players, all of them last week, at a bit of a session with the coaches and the board, and they are just a quality outfit of gentlemen. And part of what Scott Roth wanted to get was about a real culture and wanted to get guys that have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, that want to prove other people wrong, but also do the right thing and work hard. And when you meet those guys, they're a fantastic bunch that are going to gel really well. Meeting Will Magnay and a couple of our imports, they're looking really good. They're really keen to impress. And as I said, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a real opportunity for them to have a real crack in their first season. I think Scott's really determined, as I said, to not just be a first-year club that, doesn't get many wins. I think he's really set on trying to make a real impact in the league, and I think the side he's put together is going to be able to do that. Yeah, we're jumping on the
the Jack Jumpers to make it into the playoffs. So as soon as the tab comes up with the market for that, Mikey Valasaris and I are all over it, Oldie. So what about this summer? Just picture this summer for the Tassie listeners. We've got the Jack Jumpers starting off their NBL career in fine form, say they get over the 36ers, the Bullets, and they go on the road and defeat the Taipans and even the Perth Wildcats there at the Perth Arena. And then the Hobart Hurricanes start to play some good cricket as well. So for sporting lovers and sporting fans in Tassie, you'll have two national sides two sides in national competitions that you can cheer on.
Oh, it's going to be amazing, mate. It's for the first time for a long time they've been able to do that. And I know that the Jack Jumpers are keen to work with Cricket Taz and Don Baker and his team to make sure that we're getting the families along, not only to the Jack Jumpers, but obviously to support our Hurricanes as well. So it's going to be a huge summer. And potentially Tassie still could get an Ashes match. Who knows what's going to happen there? So there's a lot of opportunities for Tassie sport over this summer coming up, and it's probably one of the most exciting summers we've had for decades. So I encourage everyone in Tassie, if they want to get on board the Hurricanes or get on board the Jack Jumpers, get on board now, because you don't want to see people miss out. The tickets for both are going to be huge. I mean, the Hurricanes are recruiting strongly. They're getting a really good side together, and I think they're going to push for a title this year, the Hurricanes. So I think if I'd be suggesting to people, get on and be a member of the Hurricanes or the Jack Jumpers, and let's really support these national sides. Yeah,
so you've got Harry Brook that's just signed with the Hobart Hurricanes. He's a very talented player from England that's had so much success there at Yorkshire. He's a middle order player, and he can hit the cricket ball. He'll be great towards the back end of your innings there for the Hurricanes. So it'll be interesting to see how Harry goes for the Hurricanes this time around. Don Baker, he needs to have a talk to the captain there, because I didn't like your tactics there the other day against South Australia in the Shield when you didn't play to win. Oldie, what's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't inspire you.
No.
You've got to. I think if you're going to win the Shield, you've got to be prepared to have a bit of a crack. And I think people don't mind seeing people set targets and the other side getting them. But I think you've got to also give yourself a chance to get maximum points. And I know there's been periods where Tassie's fallen short at the end of the year by a couple of points because they've missed out. And I guess they've tried to do a start of the season. Let's not give Queensland too much of an opportunity. But then you can't win later on in the year if other sides do that to Tasmania. And over the years, Tassie has relied a few times on not being able to bowl sides out, but be set targets themselves. So it was a bit of a strange tactic. I think obviously it seemed like a very good batting deck. I mean, you look at the scores they did. But I must admit I'd rather see them set a target, and even if they don't bowl them out and the other side gets the runs, I think it sets a better precedent than doing what they did on that last day and playing out for a draw. I don't think that does much for Shield cricket, to be honest. It's hard enough getting people enthused about Shield cricket. We need to make sure that we're setting and getting some opportunities for sides to get victories. Otherwise, it does meander out into pretty boring cricket. Yeah, well said. Mark Wall was strong on that point there this morning on the forum, along with Adam White. So hopefully Tassie have a crack next time around, Oldie. We love your work, mate. We'll catch up with you next week. Good to talk to you, mate. There's Steve Auld, and Pete Staples now joins us on Tassie Time. G'day, Pete. Yeah, g'day. They've been good. Yeah, I'm well. I need to know what's happening with Mystic Journey and Still a Star. How are their preparations going towards the big Group 1, the Empire Rose, on the opening day there of the Flemington Carnival? No news is good news for Mystic Journey. Yes. So that's good. She's just ticking along nicely. No doubt Adam's just got it all mapped out that he'll just probably give her a grass gallop again, or whether she needs that, just prior to going over. There's an old saying with Adam, if it's not broken, he's not going to fix it. And that's the process that works. And everyone who saw her last start will just want to get on for the Empire Rose. Now, Billy Ryan told me yesterday at the trials that Still a Star's had a little bit of a hiccup in her prep pain, as much as she got a little respiratory infection when she came back after the Let's Elope. And then when she went back over, and of course she won, she's come back with another little respiratory hiccup. So, but he's dealing with that, and he's got an extra week for her to get over that. So he's not overly concerned about it right at the minute, but he would have preferred it not to happen. But it's like, mate, when only the good ones that these things happen. And but look, it's nothing to worry about. But, okay. That's the absolute. You need updates, and that's what it is. So those who have invested on her to win the Empire Rose at pretty good odds, including me. Yes. I'll back both of them. She'll get there.
So Probable's the favourite at 450. She would have to back up after the Cox Plate too and drop back in distance to compete in the Empire Rose.
I doubt very much whether she'll go there. Like, what if she goes to the Cox Plate, even if she doesn't win it, the way that she won last start, you would think that, that was the test to see whether they're going to take her there. So I reckon they'll go there. And, this probably won't be the toughest Cox Plate. Zaki sort of showed that he might have a little chink in his armour. I'm tipping probably will go to the Cox Plate and miss the Empire Rose, and that'll leave it for the two Tassie mares to Quinella.
If you're listening, Jamie Richards, Tassie doesn't want you to go there with Probable because of Mystic Journey. $5. And still stars at $8 there. Tefane probably goes there, and she's on the third line of betting at $5. You've got a Star Apprentice, or the Apprentice riding ranks is booming at the moment, and geez, that's. And they say that racing a week's a long time, but after some of the senior jockeys wanted to strike because of the apprentice jockeys, it's changed, turned around pretty quickly, you're telling me, Pete.
Well, I was on leave when that happened, and I think had I not been on leave, I'm sure I would have had something to say in the press about it. But look, it's over now. They've had their say, the jockeys, and they probably had a little bit of egg in their face after Taya Stalker won on her very first race ride that day. And Taylor Johnston came out and rode terrific, rode really well, and then she won at her fifth race ride last Wednesday night in Launceston. So, but look, we do have a lot of good young talent coming through the ranks. So we've had Cody Jordan, and she won the Apprentices title last season in her first season, and of course, Erica Byrne-Burke, the Irish-born lass, came down and went to Adam Trinder's stable, and she blossomed towards the end of the season. And now she leads this overall Jockeys Premiership with 15 wins so far, and 7 clear of Cody Jordan and Brendan McCool. So the young ones are coming through the ranks, and it's fantastic that, this is probably maybe the second time since I've been riding racing that there's been so much depth in our young riding ranks. And it's about time, because we certainly needed it. And we've got another one starting on Saturday, Gemma Curtin, and she's a terrific talent. I've watched her come through, and she had a couple of little weight issues she had to get on top of, but she's done that. She's been given the time to sort that out, and with that in place, she's with Stuart Gandy, and she makes her riding debut on Saturday with at least one ride happening. That's just the final steps.
That's terrific news, Pete, because you need young talent coming through now. And I know that Johnny Ralphie's about to join us, of course, thanks to the Ascot Vale Hotel and the Herald Sun, to give us an update on the final day of the trade period in the AFL. But he loves a punt, and he loves an all-up. And this is your place all-up on a Wednesday night at Launceston. Race 3, number 5. Race 4, number 5, race 7, number 5, and race 8, number 6, around $10 with the tab. That all up. Pete, so go and get them tonight, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, I'm going to get on early, because after you've told everybody, and if Ralph's going to get on it, everyone else will know about it. It'll be $6 before we know it.
Good on. They've already got on it, Pete, because you mentioned it about 10 minutes ago with the Form Express. Good on you, mate.
Sure.